Hey everyone. Hello. Ayse Hogan here from the International Academy of Universal Self-Mastery, visionary and founder. It's a lot of titles, right? Okay. So I'm also inviting today one of our beautiful faculty members, our founding faculty members, Marybeth Haines. And I love all the beautiful stuff she does. And she is like a medium for animals, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You
Okay.
can call me the gal who speaks with animals. That pretty
The
much
gal
says
who
it all.
speaks with animals. Because it's interesting. Like, I think it's so interesting. I've actually sent like a client of mine to you because it's like we all have different specialties and gifts and different things we bring to the table. And you're like just like Snow White.
Well, thank you. It feels good to be in this space. You know, I never felt, and maybe you can let me know if this makes sense to you, Ayse, and anybody that's listening to this. It's like all my life I felt like I was never home. I was home and I had love around me and I felt safe in that home, but I never felt like I was truly home. Something was missing. And it wasn't until this relationship with the animals and me accepting that this is my purpose that I found that I'm home now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you step into your place, it's your place, right? I feel like that about iAwesome. And you feel like that, about my collaboration and what I'm creating. And you feel
Yeah.
like that about the animals. And you know what? Animals are easier than people.
Yes, they are. They
Right?
sure teach us a lot.
They teach us a lot and they live in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're very much in the moment and they don't, they're not about, well, when I was 5, this happened. And when I was 10, this happened to me. And that's why I do what I want. It's all about, my parents did this to me. So, which are legitimate, like they're legitimate as a human, but
Absolutely.
animals just don't, they don't.
Yeah, they come from true divine love, and so do we. However, we are here to learn and grow, as are they. We are equal, we are united, but we are two different species. So we are spiritual beings having a human experience. They're spiritual beings having an animal experience. And I was just in session yesterday with somebody, and there was something that the animal had from its past, and it was something that this animal was ready to release. And it was so easy for this animal to release this. And the past was a pretty big thing that happened.
Right.
So I remember talking with this animal's human and saying, animals, like, it's so easy for them. When they're ready, they can release. For us, it's us that holds on. We hold on for some reason. We have that attachment to that trauma or whatever it is that happens. And so it takes humans a bit of a different path to be able to release that.
Yeah.
But the animals are here to help us with that.
Absolutely.
Cool
Oh my
thing.
God. Jasper is my
He's so
he's
sweet.
my little man. Honest to
Yeah.
God, I don't even know how I would get through COVID without him. But
Yeah.
you know, the I'm looking at life like differently now, and it's like if we look at our past like a buffet, like a buffet, right? So we've got all these plates on the buffet, which is our experiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of the dishes we're gonna love, and we're just gonna keep on eating them, and then some of them we hate. Like they just taste awful. We just don't want it. They're bitter, they're sour. We don't want it, right? It doesn't taste good, yet we keep them on the buffet. And the weird thing is,
Yes.
if we don't like what we see, we change the channel or we walk away from it or whatever. If we don't like what we smell, we're like, oh, what is that? And we back away from it. If we don't like what we hear, we'll turn off the music or whatever it is, the sound that we're not liking. But for some reason, if we don't like what we feel, we'll just keep on feeling it.
It sounds so ludicrous, but it's so true, isn't it? Like it just sounds like, yeah, we really do. We really do.
Right?
It's
So
part
I'm
of
like,
our
get ready.
journey.
Time to clear off some of the plates off the buffet. Keep what you like and add in some new flavors.
And isn't it awesome to realize that we can have the buffet of our choice? You know, we may have to go through certain dishes and learn how to make certain ingredients to put on the buffet, but we can have those dishes on that buffet. And I think it just comes to making that, to identifying that. And when we're ready to make that conscious decision that we're ready, then it all seems to fall into place. At least that's what I have found with me personally. I had to be ready to make that shift.
Oh yeah, you got to be ready. You got to be ready to like decide what plates you want off the buffet. And also, I think the buffet allows us to have contrast, right? If we never tasted that dish, we wouldn't know if we liked it or not.
Exactly.
We wouldn't know what's in alignment and resonates with us. And I really like this, but no, I'm not really feeling that, right? So, you know, the next time a dish like that shows up, we can go, not really in alignment with me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I think that our past, if we look at our past as not this heavy thing that we carry around, but rather this thing that's giving us contrast to allow us to make the choices that we want to make now.
Yeah. Love it. You said it perfectly.
Thank you. Sometimes it comes out all right. So when you're working with animals, so give me an example of how an animal's past can affect its present. I mean, outside the obvious, I guess, if an animal was beaten or something like that, I mean, that's pretty obvious. But, you know, do they have like spiritual past like we do, or, you know, things that they might have brought with them?
From like a previous lifetime, for example?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That actually comes up quite a bit. There is experiences from another lifetime that didn't have the opportunity for full healing, and the way that that animal's particular life had ended didn't allow for that. So they brought that forward into this lifetime to be able to work that through. And things will keep repeating themselves. They'll keep meeting that same person that comes into their life, or the same illness will keep rearing its head, or things like that will keep happening. And a lot of times when we can identify that there is a past life component to this, we can absolutely release that past life component. And the thing that blows my mind all the time, and I've been doing this for how long now, it still blows my mind, is how it's the animal. Because when I'm communicating with an animal, I'm communicating with them, but not only on a surface level, I'm communicating with them deeper. I'm communicating with their soul. It's like my higher self and their higher self are talking on the telephone together. Right. And so when we're identifying that there's a past life component here, that piece, I actually asked the animal, well, how is it best to release this then? Because they said they're ready. They want to change. They want to make this go away. You know, this isn't helping them. It's not in their highest and best right now. And when I ask them, they give me the answer. And it could be anything from, I've had the cave of lightness come through, where they actually are able to release everything into the cave of lightness. And this cave actually takes it and it actually recycles everything that they've released into love. So whatever they release, it gets replaced with something else. And another time, let me just think here. Another time, it was they just wanted it thrown as far away as possible, and that's how they were able to release. So just like we have personalities, so do they. And so when the animal is given an opportunity to release this, they tell me what they want to do. So I'm really a conduit.
Right.
That's what I am.
Yeah.
And it's that just being that vehicle, that vessel of energy to be able to share the vibration of communication back and forth. The animal is what guides the way. And when they decide what it is that they want to do to release this, they release it. And guess what? It's gone.
It's gone.
It's not like we have to peel the layer of the onion and have to do this 50 times, right? And it's really, really interesting. The Soul Healing with Animals course that I have up on the iAwesome platform, that's my free offering. And that particular course, there is cicada that came forward. And so cicada is an insect. And the cicada came forward in this particular healing opportunity for humans and gave this way that we can release this stuff that we are ready to let go of.
We white knuckle stuff, man. We white knuckle stuff. Like I did it. Like I absolutely did it even in my own healing. Completely would just not let go because I was afraid of what would, I think that's what it is. I think it's fear for people, because for me, when I think about it, I think, why didn't I want to let it go at that time? And it's obvious now, but it was because I was afraid that it's all I was. And if I let it go, there'd be nothing left.
And that makes so much sense, doesn't it? It's like that part of us that has helped create the identity of who we think we are, because that's how we are able to move through life is, you know, I say I'm the gal who speaks with animals. That's an identity, but that doesn't mean like that's not black, white, written in stone. Like I'm so much more than that, right? But I use that because that's a great way to identify me when we're talking about animal communication. But what you had just said, it just makes so much sense. We become attached to it because we're afraid that, well, where am I going to be now? This is how I've survived. This is how I've got here. Right. If that leaves, what am I going to do?
What am I going to do? Right? The familiarity of the darkness, right? The familiarity of our weight, wearing everybody else's stuff and wearing too much of our own stuff. And it's true, because that's what I thought. I thought I'd just be this pile of poop on the ground when it was all done. You'd have to come with one of your doggy bags and pick it up. That's really what I felt like. So I think that dogs do it. Do you think that animals, I say dogs, but animals can live with deliberate intent?
Can animals or dogs, for example, live with deliberate intent? So I'm going to say yes, but can you give me a little bit more to that? Because what do you mean by deliberate intent?
Okay, so deliberate intent is, okay, we live our lives on autopilot. A lot. We're kind of like humans doing rather than humans being, right? So deliberate. So like when I'm talking to people, like my own clients, I'll say like I'll be like, be on manual. So manual is your awareness. Look at the decisions you're making, the choices that you're making, the things that you're doing that are over and over and over again, right? That you don't want to be doing. But then you move to a spot of deliberate intent where it's like, okay, I need to laser focus myself on what I'm doing in this moment and pay attention to this and what I'm talking about, how I'm communicating it, how I'm saying it, how I'm reaching out to the universe to say that I want this, right? So I want this. So I guess maybe a better question for animals would be like, do they have law of attraction?
They absolutely do. And you know why? Because they live in the now.
Right.
The majority of animals will live in the now. They live present moment. They're not worrying about tomorrow's meeting or next week's doctor's appointment. They're just concerned about right here and right now. And it's not until something happens that, so say there's an animal that does have some anxiety, there needs to be a trigger to bring that forward for them. So using a simple example here, there was a cat, and every time it was time, he had a lot of health things that were going on in his body, and so he needed to visit the doctor often. And so as soon as mom started thinking in her mind, not even out loud, just in her mind, I gotta get, we'll call him Fluffy, I gotta get Fluffy ready to go to the vet. Guess what? Fluffy was nowhere to be found. Fluffy picked up that intention from mom.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because they read the pictures that we hold in our mind, right? They can totally, like, they're masters at that. And so Fluffy then got the trigger, became anxious, reacted, and went and hid. And of course, when mom brings out the carrier, of course, that's a further trigger, and then further anxiety comes. So
you just said something there that I really, really want to put out. Like, I just want us to, like, so they read like, you just fluffed over that. Fluffy. You feel fluffied over that. But that's not something that people know, right? That they can read the pictures in our minds.
So that is something that animals are masters at. They've got this mastered down pat. When we are connecting and communicating with an animal, we have them in our family, they're in our life. We can pretend all we want till the cows come home, that everything's fine, that we're happy and joyful and everything's fine, even though inside we feel like we're going to break down. Or say we've had a really horrendous day and we've just been holding it in so bad and we just want to scream and just get it out. Right? But no, we've been taught that we need to kind of hold things in. And so when we are with our animals, they totally know. So no matter what we say, hey, Fluffy, I love you, everything's fine, Fluffy totally knows. And the reason why Fluffy knows is because Fluffy can see what we're holding in our mind's eye. Fluffy can feel what's going on with our body, our energy. Fluffy can smell our pheromones and what we're emitting from them. And Fluffy has that innate ability to know. So we talk about the clairs, right? The clear seeing, the clairvoyance, the clairaudience. Animals have this. They know it. That's how they communicate with each other. And that's how they communicate with us. It's just learning how to tap into that with them. Because you and I are communicating through energy.
That's
right
how they
now.
get us to know what they want. Like Jasper, I know everything he wants when he wants it. Like just the way he looks at me or, what he does, like I know exactly what he wants all the time.
And so how do you know, do you realize how you've come to know what he wants? Is it a feeling you get? Is
part
it
of it's
something?
a feeling, some of it's familiarity with him, but it's also, he can just kind of sit across the room and do like this with his head. And I know what he wants. And I don't know how I know sometimes, but I do. And I know when he's trying to be funny.
Yes.
Like I know when he's being Mr. Comical.
Yes.
Right. And I know when he's trying to like egg me on.
Yes.
Right. And when he wants me to do certain things, like I know. But he's also come to the point too that he's, I guess, knows that sometimes because I'm so busy that he needs to be more out there about letting me know things. So like he will grab my sweater if he wants my attention and he starts to pull it and yank it into the other room, right? Like it's like he's like, come here for a second. I need you over here. Like he'll try and get my attention. And yet if I go into session with a client, it doesn't matter what he's doing. If I go into like I'm doing a hypnosis session or whatever, he hears a certain tone in my voice and immediately he lays down and goes to sleep because he knows that he has to be quiet during that time.
Right. Yeah. There's so much more than what we think of as just regular everyday interactions with our animals. There's so much more behind it with regards to their communication, what they're understanding from us and what we're understanding from them. It's quite fascinating.
It is. Yeah. It is. And even at night when I'm sleeping and if he wants my attention, it's like these really gentle taps that I get with the paw. Like he comes up and he'll like, nose on mine, but it's just like gentle tap because he knows I'm sleeping.
Yes. Exactly.
Instead of like running in like, hey mom, I need you. Like it's not that. It's like
I know you're sleeping. Can you wake up, please?
I go to the bathroom. Can you get up? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
It's amazing. So I think that's what I mean with a deliberate intent. But I guess, do they intend? They probably don't intend. Do they?
So let's think about that for a moment. Does an animal make a deliberate intention? And I think, so here's what's coming through right now because I'm tapping outside of my brain. I'm just asking for guidance and assistance on this. And the question is, do animals deliberately intend for things? And I'm getting absolutely they do. And I'm getting, again, it's from that soul piece because they are souls having an animal experience, and that okay, one second. So they bring through, because they have the ability to be able to reach on an energetic level farther than what we feel we can, because we can too as humans, right? But we're not aware of our capacity yet. And what they're saying is that they do know their capacity, and for them it's so easy. Like they see energy all the time, they see spirit all the time, they connect with energetic and energy all the time. So they absolutely can have deliberate intent to bring forward things in their life. They absolutely can. But I'm also being told that it's not just, it's kind of like not all animals, because some animals are still on that journey of realizing that within themselves. And that's why certain experiences come into their life so that they can learn that. But yeah, I'm totally getting that. Absolutely.
Like confirmation, because my body's doing the chill thing. So total.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
It's funny. We had making me think of all kinds of things. So I had some, I have my own little visitors here in the house once in a while, and Jasper went into the other room and he's like staring at the wall. Right? He's staring at the wall. He's like pawing at the wall. And I'm like, what is he doing with the wall? And immediately I was like, oh, I have to go get my pendulum, and I think there's something going on here, right? So I start trying to connect to whatever it is that's in the wall, and there was like there's this energy visiting. So I won't get into too much of what the energy was and everything, but he started going crazy, running from one side of the wall to the other, like trying to get behind my dresser and stuff. And not like in a way where my house is 140 years old. So I know when there's something under the house that he's trying to get, like if it's like, that's a completely different dance that he does. But this was just more anxious to find, that he was excited to connect with whatever it was that he was like seeing or sensing. So I always like confirmation, because even though I, totally am into everything, there's always that piece of me that goes, is this really happening? Right. So I just said, are you doing this to my dog right now? If you are, make him stop. And immediately he stopped, he picked up his bone, and he went into the living room.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, so now there's some messages for me. So I figured out what that was, but it was just interesting how he was trying to get my attention to say, hey, there's something here for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Even as a puppy, when I first got him, when they come home and they're like this big, they can't get on the furniture or anything. And I was having, I was very sick, just not feeling really well in my chest, like a respiratory, this is years and years ago, not COVID.
Right.
And, so my mom came over, and my mom was giving me Reiki in my chest, right? And I was almost to the point where we were thinking I should go to the hospital. Like I was kind of like couldn't breathe. Right. And he started all of a sudden, this dog that cannot get up on the furniture, puppy, small, is bouncing from one couch to the next. And he's like, because of the energy that we had flowing in the room, getting up on my chest and stuff. And it was just amazing to watch him. He was just like this little ball of fire around the room. And then the minute we stopped and it all settled down, he couldn't get on the couch again.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Animals tell me that they can see the swirls, they see the lights. They talk about colors with me. They talk about specific colors. And I have a bearded dragon named Darwin. He is the most amazing little guy ever. And when he's having his bath, he always, there's something in our bathroom. He always sees things in the bathtub. So he'll be in there and he'll be like, and he's looking, and I'm like, so I ask him, what are you seeing? And he tells me things like there's sparkles. And I said, I would love to see what you're seeing. Can I see it through your eyes? So he tells me and he explains it to me. And one time he came out with the most magnificent message. He said, I see a mask, and the mask is coming off. And he said, this was during COVID.
Right.
So he said, this is during COVID, we're still in COVID, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He says, I see a mask and the mask is coming off.
That's
And he's, yeah. And he said that more was going to come forward. We were going to start having a full understanding of things because there's so much confusion right now with everything. And he said, it will take some time, but that is what I see. And he saw that through these sparkling lights that came forward and showed him this, which he articulated to me.
amazing.
So it was
learn how to speak with animals so they can get like the information that they need. Oh, that would be so good. That'd be so good. I remember a friend of mine, she was medium for animals when Jasper was young again. And she said, but I didn't invite her over for that. I just invited her over for a cup of tea, right?
right.
You know, doesn't really have any anxiety or anything. So we're just having a cup of tea. And she said, Ayse, I have to tell you something that Jasper, and she's like laughing with the dog. And I'm like, what are you guys laughing about? And she said, he wants me to tell you that you don't need a boyfriend, that he's going to be all you need.
He's there for you. Aww.
You don't need anyone. And I was just like, well, that's a nice message. He's a cutie. Anyway,
yes, he is.
So you have the Soul Speaks.
Soul healing. Yeah. Soul healing with animals. Yeah.
And then you also have another course, which is Beyond Words. Beyond.
You got it. Yeah. Beyond Words.
Which is a certification course, right? That comes with a certificate.
That's right. Yeah. It's a certification course. It's Beyond Words, simple steps for understanding and communicating with animals. And it is a certification program, and it really helps you be able to open that communication muscle up that we have. We have this. Anybody can do this. It's just reawakening that within us. And it's coming to a place where we become one with animals. You know, it's not like we're here and animals are here. There we go. We're here, animals are here. You know, we're equals together, and we're here to help each other on so many ways. And so when we can build that deeper relationship with animals and actually learn how do they communicate, what is it that they can bring into our lives, because we already know they bring in so much. This course will show you how you can communicate with them, understand with them, and do it simply. Because a lot of times we think, like, this is going to be rocket science. I'm going to have to, you know, awaken this within me, and then I got to do this, and I got to do that. And they're actually simple steps. But what will hold us back is this.
Right. We hold ourselves back. We hold ourselves back. Absolutely.
But the animals are there. The animals are there to help us. So that's one of the cool things.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you, Marybeth.
I thank you, Ayse. This has been a lot of fun.
I'm so happy that you're part of our amazing academy. You know, you know, we're always looking for new faculty members as well, because, you know, we are a collaboration, and I'm so glad that we're a collaboration. I think it's also like I pull my cards every morning, and for the last 3 mornings, I've pulled out partnerships and alliances. And I think that because I feel like we are that, you know, the faculty come together in this alliance, and, you know, every voice is heard, and it's a great community. And I'm so excited for all the students that are starting to become a part of iAwesome. So yeah, if you guys have courses, or it doesn't even matter what language it's in, you know, we're teaching in different languages as well, which is great. So if you have a mediumship course about speaking with animals and you're teaching it in Italian, we want to know, right? So
absolutely. Yeah,
we want to know about it. So
get this out there. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So check us out on iawesome.com. And thank you again for joining us this morning. And I look forward to a very long partnership.
Wonderful.
All right. I will talk to you later. And thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.